SpaceX is already looking ahead to its next mission just days after that huge rocket explosion over the Bahamas. The company's Starship rocket, with no astronauts on board, blowing up just minutes after launch in Texas, sending debris raining back down to Earth. People could see the debris burning up in the sky as far as Florida and the Bahamas. I mean, look at that. Unbelievable. And just days from now, the company is set to launch the Crew 10 mission, sending 2 NASA astronauts as well as 2 international crew members to the International Space Station. This is the ship that will finally bring home, actually, the other ship that's on there already on the ISS. That's going to bring astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore back. They've been on the station for 9 months because of insurmountable issues with their Boeing Starliner return capsule. You remember that months back. For more on all of this, there's a lot to digest when it comes to space, so we need an astronaut to figure it out. Former NASA astronaut Charles Camarda, thank you so much for joining us here on ABC News Live, sir.
Thanks for having me, Gio.
Absolutely. So let's start with Thursday's explosion. Obviously, no one was hurt because this was an uncrewed ship. This was a test launch. How big of a setback was this, or is this something that needs to happen in order to prevent a disaster further down the line?
You know, Starship SpaceX has been failing big. I believe they could fail small, fast, and cheap instead of large failures, but they've been very successful. It's a development phase for them, right? And so this was their eighth failure. They have problems with their TPS. They're also having problems with their rocket engines.
All right. And this is the second time we know that this particular model of Starship has exploded. We know CEO Elon Musk, he's known to not let an explosion or two get him down. He posted on X right after the explosion that, quote, rockets are hard. But turning to this week's Crew 10 mission, which is, of course, crewed, are there concerns at all about the safety of this week's launch? I mean, we haven't seen any ship taking astronauts to space explode.
Thank God. You know, we flew right after the Columbia accident on STS-114, but the Falcon 9 Heavy is a very reliable vehicle. It's flown 20 times to the International Space Station, taking 10 crews up there, total of 36 astronauts. So we expect this to be an ordinary flight, if you will.
And we know that Sunny and Butch, they are on the International Space Station. They've been there. They became part of Crew 9. So they've been working for months now. Now, you've logged more than 300 hours there in space. What do you think is going through their minds right now as their homecoming approaches?
I think they're anticipating coming home. It's been a while, over 9 months. They're seasoned veterans. Both of them have several hundred hours, long duration missions. And so this was something that they expect. They have no problems. But I'm sure they're missing their family. I know Sunny's mentioned she's missing her dogs, wants to come back home.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I spoke to them just last week while they were there on the International Space Station, and they were saying, look, we're prepared. This is what we trained for. So they didn't feel stuck there. Is this something, what would be going through your mind if you were up there right now?
I'd be loving it, to tell you the truth. Every minute in space, like all astronauts, and there's a lot to do there. And so they've been busy. They've been doing science experiments. Sunny was talking about her stem cell research that she's been doing. They also have lots of maintenance. It's like a 2-story, 2,000 square foot home, if you will. It gets dirty, things break, they have to fix it.
Yeah, astronaut Katie Coleman tells me that what she misses most about not being in space is sleeping, because the sleep, she says, is unbelievable. You agree?
Oh, absolutely. I had no problem sleeping in space.
Oh, no neck pain, just floating around in zero gravity. I love that. All right, Charles Camarda, thank you so much for joining us here on ABC News Live.
My pleasure, Gio. Thanks for having me.